Hello commoners, welcome back to another episode of Planet Zoo Boarding School. So for today, I'm going to focus on showing you guys the building and the creation and everything that goes into the largest habitat in the game, which is I call it the African grassland habitat, but it involves I think about 8 or 9 species, and I'll show you those in a second. But basically, we are going to be transforming this area right here into that habitat, and that is going to actually complete our African grassland area, which starts all the way over here with a Nyala there, lions, aardvarks, Nile monitors, and then we have hyenas, African wild dogs, and elephants there, cheetahs here, and then, like I said, cap it off with the largest habitat. And I'll go over the species that are in that habitat right now for you guys. So I believe we can start here with the African buffalo. And with African buffalo, this is what they look like. So they're grassland and tropical, but it'll mostly be grassland in there. They, I believe, can have, they can have 1 male and 14 females. They live pretty long time. I know that they don't breed too much, but they do breed a little bit. I have had this habitat before in this game, and this is kind of the one that I focused on the most when I played it prior to making this series. So I have a little bit of experience with it. So these guys are the first ones. They're pretty large. They do have a water requirement, so there will be a bit of water in there. And then this is their fun facts. The very first one, the African buffalo is one of the most dangerous animals in Africa, killing 200 people a year, which is kind of crazy because when you think Africa, you have lions, cheetahs, hyenas, wild dogs, like crocodiles, you have all sorts of things. And of course, the African buffalo is the most dangerous animal in Africa, according to that fun fact anyway. Oh, this one is pretty cool too. African buffalo have excellent memories, and they have been known to make vengeful attacks against lions and hunters that have targeted their herd in the past, especially if a calf has been injured. So they get pissed off and hurt the people that have hurt them in the past, which is very human-like. So these guys are pretty cool. And then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. So this is our whole list here. It's nine species in total. I know there's only 8 here, but it's not counting the African buffalo there. And I'll just go right down the line here. So the black wildebeest, I believe, so this one can also have a lot of animals in there of that species. So again, only 1 male, but 31 females, which is a lot. So that's already like up to, what, 47 animals just between these 2 species alone. Then up next, we have the ostrich. I do enjoy the ostrich in this game. Ostrich are massive, and you wouldn't really think that they're that big until you kind of see them. I have seen ostrich in real life as well, and they are huge. But they can't have as many ostrich. 1 male, 7 females. Yeah, they're 8 feet tall, the males are, and the females are 6 feet tall, so taller than most humans. And they live to be 46 years old. Again, they're grassland, but also desert, so that's the issue with combining all these species. Is they all share grassland, but they don't all share the desert or the tropical regions of Africa. So I believe I kind of just have to stick with the grassland elements, which is kind of a challenge because there's not that many plants for grassland. So it's a pretty big challenge to fill out this large of an area with only a certain selection of plants. It might start to look a little bit repetitive, but I'll try to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, up next is the warthog. 1 male, 6 females. So I think this puts us up to about 60, somewhere in there. I think about 60 animals at maximum, not counting the offspring. And you can put all of these species in their own habitat, or only put a few in the same habitat, and then a few, like you could make 2 separate large habitats, one with, say giraffes and gazelle and all those, and then another one with like warthogs, ostrich, whatever. You could separate them, is my point. But I'd like the idea of being able to put them all in the same habitat together. So that is definitely what we're going to be doing. Zebras are the next species, and oddly you can't really have that many zebras in the same only one male again, and then 5 females. I mean, everybody knows what a zebra looks like and what they are, so I won't really take too much time going over those. And then it's kind of same with giraffes, but giraffes are super awesome. I love giraffes, and I love giraffes in this game. So this one is a little bit different than most species. You can have 4 males and 8 females. All in all, the giraffes are pretty easy to take care of, I'm pretty sure. They just cost a lot of money, and that will be our biggest issue with those. So I'll have to find some for decently cheap. It looks like I have about 10,000 conservation currency to work with, so we'll see how that goes. Up next are the sable antelope. Looks like we got 1 male and 10 females for this one. Really, they're just antelope. Nothing super special, but when you combine them with all these other animals, it'll start to look pretty cool. And then the last 2 are going to be springbok and then Thompson's gazelle, which are similar in my opinion. I know gazelles are really fast and springbok are probably somewhat different, but to me they're kind of the same idea. But this is the thing with the springbok, up to 35 total animals excluding juveniles, and they reproduce like crazy for me in the past. And then up next will be the Thompson's gazelle. So for these guys, they can have up to 36. So just between the gazelle and the springbok alone, it is going to be 71 maximum animals. And then if you add all the others in, it's probably like 150 or maybe more, probably more. So that really makes for a lot of animals at maximum in the habitat. So I have to make it really large, and I'll just, I guess, see how it goes. Okay, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and buy some of these animals. So I'll start out with the African buffaloes. Okay, I got 2 female African buffalo. There were no male on the market, so I'll have to come back to these to try to find some male. I had the same issue with the black wildebeest. Again, no males on the market, so I only got 2 female here as well, and then I'll have to come back and hopefully find another male. I'm going to spend a little bit of our conservation currency on this albino male ostrich here. And I've never had an albino ostrich, so I just want to kind of see how it goes. And then I'll get 1 more female, and then that will be all I will have for the ostriches. For the warthogs, there were no females on the market, so I got 1 male, but no female. This is getting kind of rough. I'm going to have to really start writing this down, I think, or at least I'm going to have to go through it later and figure out exactly what I need. This has officially become a trend. There are no males for the zebras, so I just got 2 females, and I'm going to have to come back and get males later on. Oh my word, this is going to be annoying. Luckily, I found 2 decent giraffes, so I got my male here, female here. Pretty good genes. Everything that was being sold by players all sucked. The only good ones I found were actually from the Frontier Zoo itself. There's only 1 male for the sable antelope. I'm just going to grab it for now. And then there are plenty of females in here to work with. So guys, you'll never believe this. There were no male springbok. So I'll have to come back and get some springbok. Gosh. Last up is the Thompson's gazelle, and there are no males. Oh my word, this is ridiculous. I am missing a ton of the opposite genders here, so that kind of sucks, but either way, let's jump into the building of the actual habitat. So I went through all the animals, and grade 3 6.5 foot tall barriers is all I'm going to need for this, which is pretty solid. So I have a lot of options to choose from here. So I decided I'm going to go with wood for a bit of it, and then I'm also going to go with thick glass for some of it. So that way I have a little bit of a difference. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to do it like that. All right, so getting into the building here. First up, I am placing the barriers, and as I said, the barriers are thick glass and then wood. And basically, I'm going to use the back wall, which is actually the edge of the zoo, as a null barrier, and then the front edge of this habitat is also going to be a null barrier because I have a large wall, as you see right there. So I kind of set that up how I wanted it. Like, I set it up that way on purpose because that's how I wanted it to be. And then I just have to make my observation point kind of come out of that front area there. which is a bit of a challenge, but you'll see me place it. And then this edge here, I wanted to leave this in just to add some like pizzazz, I guess you would say, into the habitat shape, because a lot of mine to start in this zoo were very square, and then I started kind of messing around with them a little bit, made some like triangular and then like trapezoidish type shapes. So I've been kind of fixing that issue, and then with this, like I said, I made that like point come out to the end just to add that bit of differentness, I guess you would say. And then for the training aspect, I didn't want to make it too hilly, but I did add a couple hills because I also didn't want it to be super duper flat. So I kind of made that hill right there, as you see, and then I put water all around it, except for on the back end, so it's kind of like a peninsula. And then I put this water all the way to this corner like this, simply because I had to make it so the water treatment that I had already placed down could reach it. So if you haven't played the game, I'll just explain it really quick. Water treatment is needed to keep your water clean, which is pretty self-explanatory, but it needs to be in a certain zone of the water. So like the water treatment has a circle around it in a zone, and then the water has to be within that zone to be treated, and that's the only thing that you really have to do. But if any piece of the body of water is touching inside of that zone, then it counts as the whole zone being cleaned and filtered. So all I had to do was just get it to that corner, so that way that could happen. So that's why the creek or river, whatever you want to call it, actually ran all the way there. But then I kind of actually like how it looks, so pretty excited about it. And then I just terrained the actual ground. Like, this is called painting it, but it's basically just adding soil and sand, rock, grass, whatever. And I did a really good job. I didn't have to mess with it at all after I placed the animals in, and I usually do have to mess with it because I usually messed it up at some point. But all in all, I really like how I did it and how it turned out, like I said. And then in the left corner and the right corner, as you'll see in a minute, I'm placing shelter, and I try to use that back wall as the back edge of the shelters to make it look like the shelter is built into the wall itself. And like, this is my nerd self overthinking things, but my thought process was the animals will stay cooler if that is like the ground right there. So like, that's how it would work in real life. If that were rock, it would be a lot cooler than, say, it just being out in the open. So like I said, that's just my nerd self kicking in and overthinking it, but it makes it look cooler and it adds a little bit of a story element to it. So that's why I have to do stuff like that for myself to keep it interesting. And as you see, I check it again and make sure that it is good and against the wall. I didn't really talk about it much, but I added the feeders in there, and one of the feeders is a giraffe feeder, and I'm sure you'll see it again in a second, but it is specifically for giraffes, and giraffes are the only animal in the game that can use it. And it's just like a super tall feeder. If you've been to a zoo with giraffes in it before, you might have seen something similar. And then there's also an enrichment feeder that is super tall, and it's like a grazing enrichment feeder for giraffes. So those are giraffe unique, which is pretty awesome. And I just like it when there's like new enrichment items that I get to use, or new feeders, or new anything, because it just adds a little bit of a fun element into the game for me and switches it up a little bit, which is what is very important with Planet Zoo, because it can get kind of repetitive and boring if there isn't a lot of variety that happens, but they do a good job at adding that variety. And I talked about this earlier a little bit, but basically I'm adding an observation deck here, and I want it to be as close to the ground and up close and personal to the animals as I can really get it without it screwing up and making the animals get all freaked out. So that's why I deleted that piece there, was because I actually added it. I made it one layer lower than what it was, and then I get rid of the little side stairs there because it was ugly. And that is my observation in the middle, and then there's one on the right side, as you can see over there. And those are the only two I think that I'm going to add. I might add one more on that left corner, but I'm not for positive on that, but we'll see in the future. And then I'm placing these trees in to block the view of the stairs, or I guess the view from the stairs, because I don't want the guests to get caught up on the stairs looking in, because it will just add a huge like roadblock there, and that gets super annoying. I don't really know how much it really affects the game itself, but it just looks bad when there's just a bunch of guests standing in the way of the other guests trying to get through, and then they're all shoving, and it just looks ugly. So that's the only reason why I really added those trees there. And I didn't really add much scenery over there other than that, because I didn't want to add too much coverage. And as far as the coverage does go here, I am right on the borderline of having too much, I think, for the ostriches. So this is about as much as I'm going to be able to put in here. I might be able to put a little bit more like vegetation, but I can't really put in any more trees. And I'm about to put in right now a piece that I actually downloaded from the Steam workshop. It costs $45,000 to build it, and I only had $55,000 at the time, so it was a big investment, but it was worth it. And I'm sorry the screen gets choppy here, but I really wanted you guys to be able to see the backside of this, even if it's just a glimpse, because the backside is also pretty cool. There are like little areas that the animals can walk into, and then those white pieces that you see in the front are actually waterfalls, and you'll see those for a second. I actually fixed this. Yep, I fixed the bottom so that way the waterfalls are actually running into the water, and then voila, somebody else created this whole thing, and I used it for my benefit. And there's also a really cool, right there, I just showed it off for a second, there's a little watering area in the backside there that the animals can use. And then for the rest of the habitat, I'm really just placing in the vegetation and trying to make it look as natural as possible. I didn't add any scenery element to it, so I didn't really add any vehicles or like construction items, any buildings or anything, but I do plan on doing that if I really get like a good idea for it. But I just didn't have a good idea at the time. I might put like a Jeep crash into the water, but I kind of already did that with the lions, so I'm not too positive if I'm going to do that. And I already added like a little camp in the lion habitat, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll add just one of the already pre-built nature scenes in, but also I might not put anything in at all, because in the end of this, it does look pretty nice. There's just one spot I think that ends up being kind of bare, but maybe that's where I'll add a nature scene. I don't know. We'll see in the future, but in this video, I don't really add anything, like I said. And then I just kind of garden around the whole piece there. This whole piece is just making it filled out is all. And there's the view from this observation point, and there's the view from the other observation point. Okay, the animals are now popping in. We've got, oh, look at the giraffe running. Oh, that was cool. Okay. So we got giraffe in. Wow, I don't even know what all these are. Sable antelope there. Common warthog there. African buffalo here. Zebra. Oh my. George Washington's mating with somebody over in the elephant habitat, which is just over here. Okay. Nice. Right in front of this other elephant. Three-way. Whoa. So what's going on here, guys? Nothing? Oh, nothing. Just nonchalantly walk away. I would probably do the same. Got kind of freaky there. Alright. Back to the African safari habitat. Everything looks so good. Warthogs look good. Zebras look good. Oh, also I did get a lot of the opposite genders. Didn't get them all, but I got a lot of them. Pretty excited about that. I still have to get a couple. I think I still have to get the Springbok male and one other that I cannot remember right now. Let's see what this one is. Zebra. Oh, this is gonna look silly if they all stay in there. Oh no. Oh. Okay. At least the zebra ran away. I think that was a Thompson's gazelle, and you're all running together. Nice. So these are, what are these actually? Yeah, these are the gazelles. I didn't know if they're the springboks or the gazelles. Holy. That's a springbok. See, that's how I was getting them confused, or was possibly getting them confused, because that is a springbok, that is a Thompson's gazelle. As you can see, they look very much alike. Chance the Rapper just had offspring. I've officially gotten every species to have both at least one male and one female, and I'm pretty excited about that because it took me a very long time. I will give you a little peek into each animal here to finish up this video, but other than that, that will be it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give me a like. That would help me out a ton. And then also, what would even help out more is sharing the video to your friends and family and anybody else who you think would enjoy this video. And also, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and check out the rest of the series if you hadn't seen it yet, because it will give you a little bit of a lead up into this video, and you'll be able to see how the rest of the zoo was built and the foundations of everything. Wow, the buffalo is pretty cool. The water buffalo. He is pretty cool. The albino ostrich didn't really disappoint, I don't think. I wish it were maybe a little bit more on the white side. There's a lot of spots in there, but it's pretty cool. I believe these are black wildebeest. Yep, they are pretty sweet as well. Looks like the warthog just mated. Oh, there they go. What do we got over here? Oh yeah, the zebra is ready to kind of look at those. Those are sweet. Oh, look at these things are swimming. Nice, I like their swimming animation too. It looks pretty realistic. Those are the gazelle. The warthogs are running everywhere. I just wanted to give you guys another peek at the giraffes. So I know a lot of people like giraffes. I like giraffes too. Oh! No way! That's cool. That was very cool. I'll go ahead and name a lot of these on the next episode, or maybe the one after that. I just don't really have time in this episode to do that. But this is all pretty sweet. I'm really excited I got this going. Ooh, this area is pretty empty. I'll also fill out a lot more of this. I just didn't want to overfill it. I'll go ahead and see you guys on the next one.